WoW 2.0, there's on one hand, we can talk about the fact that we have been being part of the transformation or the development
We've
process
seen it
of
first
2.0.
like the first row.
Yeah, we've seen it. I believe like for quite a while now. That being said, you have to go back to the cinematic, the last cinematic where we got the announcement for the release date, where Xal'Atath says, all the heroes, and so blah, blah, blah. It's basically some Morlock language there. No, but you get the cinematic where it starts off with all of the previous cinematics, and it all kind of concludes into, and I quote this, the final battle. Now, for me, this sounds like the final battle. This is not, I don't think it's referring to the War Within as the final battle.
World Soul Saga, most likely.
Yeah, the World Soul Saga is the final battle. And I know a lot of people speculated about this in the whole different avenues and capacities, but I feel like now with the cinematic, with the fact that she says that after all of this, starting from Vanilla to, Burning Crusade, Wrath of the Lich King, Cataclysm, Mists of Pandaria, Warlords of Draenor, Legion, Battle for Azeroth, Shadowlands, it's basically in that cinematic, they throw all of these at you with the conclusion that, with the final battle. I don't think we ever heard in WoW something in regards to the final battle. We heard a lot of statements, a lot of, different wordings on things, but the final battle.
The closest we would have probably gotten was Legion with the fight against the Burning Legion, right?
Yeah, but even that wasn't phrased as the final battle.
We knew there was always more to that. There was always something voidy outside
they always,
there.
There always had to be something out there.
Yeah, and it's
but
clear,
now,
even with the last expansion that we're gonna have, the last Titan.
Yeah, even that kind of tells you something. What do you mean? What was this? So they said that they want to develop the future of World of Warcraft for the next 20 years in this capacity. It's like, okay, you're gonna have a saga that will close off, and very much like in the Star Wars universe and stuff, they reference that quite a bit. So what does that mean? So you have this final battle, which is being told. We have the last Titan, a lot of final.
That's the thing, because if you ask anybody that either has a lot of lore knowledge or very little lore knowledge, like who's the biggest, what's that the pinnacle of WoW?
Where does the game end?
It would have to be like Titans or Void stuff. Xal'Atath is the Void stuff. Last Titans or Azeroth, or I don't know. There's speculations that Azeroth may be not the Titan, but it's clearly like the Titans versus the Void. That would probably be what would be considered the last battle. So where do you go from there?
That's the
next saga. Is that WoW 2.0?
Okay, because this is a big undertaking. This is a big subject to look at, because WoW 2.0, again, you have the side where we've kind of been living in the development of WoW 2.0. If you go back from Legion, BFA, Shadowlands,
Bobby era of WoW.
Yeah, the Bobby era. We kind of been part of this transformation where we kind of are in WoW 2.0 at the moment. However, when you end the World Soul Saga, and with everything that we talked about so far, is that the other avenue of thinking, that the other train thought, could that potentially mean that during the 3 expansions we're gonna get, there's gonna be some sort of back-end work, slowly but sure, because we're talking almost 5-6 years here. Basically, the amount of time it took to develop WoW. So is it something in their plans where they're having a small team at first working on something that would conclude the World Soul Saga and basically transform that into a brand new game? Is that something too far-fetched?
No, I don't think so. That's a good question. So here's how I see it, and we've known this as well, because people tend to not really see the whole big picture when they criticize a lot of the things, or when they receive the information. Think about where we were in Shadowlands. Not oh my god, it was a shit expansion, but design-wise, what the specs were, what the raids were, what the Mythic Plus were. Think of what happened over the last couple of years and where we are now in the War Within, with, I don't know, a team that's 5 times bigger. It's working on 3 expansions at a time. It gets reworks done on a week-by-week basis for multiple specs at a time.
True.
It changes whole affixes within 1 week. It adds new talents. It adds, 39 new talents, the hero talents, which is 39 times 10. That's 390 new talent points for all of the classes, all in one expansion. Delves, new story, new races, new zones. Okay, it's a lot of stuff happening, and starting from 925 when we got the Zeroth Mortis one was like, oh, finally, like this is like a brand new version of Shadowlands, to new whole hero talent reworks, to back-to-back class reworks throughout Dragonflight, to Mythic Plus being changed drastically and losing the seasonal affixes, losing affixes, to now going into an expansion like that. If you put a graph as to how WoW has evolved from Shadowlands and BFA, where it's like this, and then it keeps going like this with Dragonflight, and if it keeps this track, who knows where we will be by the end of the War Within. It has to be like a whole new version of World of Warcraft.
Yeah, it's no secret that they have a lot more folks working on the team, but there's also a lot of attrition there. So we know that a lot of people leave the company. Unfortunately, a lot of talented and like senior people leave the company, and sometimes that can reflect in things you see within the game. But the reality remains, right now they have a much bigger team working on everything. So like, even like you mentioned all of that, not top it off with mop remakes, Plunderstorm,
for sure.
All of those things like wouldn't be possible in the BFA era or in the Shadowlands era.
We've had more content in like the one season cycle of Dragonflight than in an entire expansion before.
Like, think about like Warcraft content, not just like retail modern world. Okay, so there's a lot of focus there. Not to mention that John Hyde has like stated in that IGN interview that they're looking at this for the next 20 years. So they want to like establish the Warcraft franchise, not World of Warcraft, the Warcraft franchise as something as big as I've said, Star Wars or something like that. That is, okay, very ambitious. That's a video game.
That's a very bold statement to say when they have been very reluctant in saying anything publicly.
Well, and that was the Blizzard modus operandi for
the Activision era. And you have to understand that all of this is coming off of the dead corpse of Shadowlands, where everybody's like, oh, WoW is dead now. Well,
No, the thing
it's like a phoenix reborn.
It definitely feels like that. However, let's get into the point. Would it be possible that at the end of all this, that when we get into 2029 or something, and we get the announcement for the next whatever it is for World of Warcraft, is that going to be WoW 2.0? And if WoW 2.0 is going to be like a brand new game, a brand new engine, okay, we're going there. I'm not sure if it's too far-fetched or not, but I always said this, like even like from 5 years ago when we started doing videos like these with talking about WoW 2 and what could that mean.
Oh yeah, this has always been a topic.
The first thing they have to make sure of, okay, so yeah, pretty graphics, blah, 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 everybody, and some people want new graphics, some people want to retain the graphics, that's not important. What they have to do is migrate the database of everything all the players have to this new game. If you don't do that, you will not be able to do, because you cannot ask people to move to WoW 2 and not have them keep all of their mounts, achievements, transmog. You cannot do that.
You know, there's two things that I want to say that would kind of support this. First of all, you could say that warbands is one way of making the database more malleable between characters, considering that one character can interact with the database way more than before, because now as a mage I can get plate armor as a transmog. So that's one thing. That's the first step in like a lot of other steps. And the second thing is that what I've noticed testing all of these specs on the beta is that I have a significantly reduced amount of buttons to press. And Microsoft has acquired Blizzard.
Everybody's talking about that. I don't
know if that's gonna be true, but if you're gonna have WoW 2.0, if you're gonna have a new version of WoW, it would have to have some console implications.
Well, we don't know what the landscape will be in terms of like platforms and technology.
Well, if you look at like Final Fantasy, it's always on the console as well. So there you have to have.
Oh yeah, I'm not kicking it out, but you have these platforms now. I believe that by 2029, I don't think hardware is going to be that much more relevant. I think streaming games is going to be where it's at. I think that's the future.
Probably.
Because right now we're looking at some of that. It's a different topic of discussion. However, yes, WoW 2.0, among many other things, it has to make sure it takes.
Whether or not it gets on consoles or not, they're making it. They're doing it in a way where they leave that option open.
Of course,
of interacting with WoW with a different interface, whether it's keyboard or mouse.
They'll have to put in something like Game Pass. I mean, look at Diablo 4. Once Diablo 4 hit the Game Pass, the numbers for the game just it was astronomical. And
they're not going to pass on that.
You get a huge influx of players regardless, right? But that means a whole different different monetary options for them because Game Pass is, Netflix style, whatever. But just circling back to that, listen, we're not programmers. We don't do code, or we don't know how shit works.
You do spaghetti code. Sometimes it's better than the alpha versions of WoW.
I think like if you give them enough time, I think that is possible. I think like in a span of 5 years or something, you can have
that's
some.
What we're talking about. It's like
5-6 years, right? So you still have your current cadence of content will not suffer, but in the backside, nobody knows about this very project titan thing here. Like the first work that has to be done is like migrate all of the database, everything to be available and ready for the brand new engine and the brand new stuff that's going to happen within the WoW tube. And that's the main thing. You can talk about the new characters, the new story, the new blah, blah, blah. That is irrelevant. The graphics are irrelevant. The sounds, everything will be irrelevant if this original database from the modern WoW is not being migrated. Because so this game has been so like vital to so many of us, and we're so attached to like the amount of time we put into this game that it's not going to be easy.
It's not fair to call it a video game.
Yeah,
it's just a video game.
It's a lot. And you cannot really transform modern WoW into another classic version of WoW. We already have classic WoW. We have retail modern WoW. The next step would be, because, okay, you can talk about segmenting your audience, which Blizzard did with World of Warcraft. You have the classic crowd, you have the Season of Discovery, you have the modern retail WoW, and now you're probably going to have a developed remixed new event crowd as well. That's fine. If you're going to add another one, so you're going to transform the modern retail game into some sort of like weird ass classic 2.0 whatever, that's going to segment it even more, and that's not really healthy on the long term. So I would feel the next natural step would be either to just have WoW 2.0 as we talked about it. So that's impossible. No, I think that would be the best time to have WoW 2.0. So basically at the end of the World Sword Saga and with all of the database migrated there. After that is like spot on, and Flame will not use his the insane title and not use his not lose his whatever rare mount you have for Ashes of my ass mount. My ass mount. Then it's all going to be great. Then you can have everybody focus on the new engine, new characters, graphics, sound, all of that, the premise, everything.
It's definitely going to be a revolutionary thing that no other game has done.
I'm telling you, they know. I do believe Blizzard knows. They know if they're going to make a bomb drop of an announcement at a BlizzCon or whatever event and say, WoW 2.0, 2029, see it then.
Yeah.
Everybody's gonna lose their shit, and I'm not talking even like us existing players. I'm not talking new returning players. That's the moment when World of Warcraft is gonna pique the interest of new players. This is gonna be the moment where, holy shit, this is a second version of the game. I never played it.
I've seen my dad play it, but I never really get into it. It's like, now I can play it now.
Yeah, okay.